As we all know, XRP fell quite a bit recently. However, this could change soon with a Ripple win against the SEC in the court case. Why is that? And what huge double standard is the SEC having right now? Stay tuned till the end of the video to find out. Welcome back XRP Army. Let's grow the XRP Lab community by pressing the like button and subscribing to this channel to stay updated at all times. Despite the fact that the SEC and the fintech company are still engaged in a legal battle, fresh information on Ripple emerges nearly every week. Strangely, the SEC has come to embrace the amici motion as another one of its options. In point of fact, the legal battle between the SEC and Ripple has been the cause of losses for XRP investors for a considerable amount of time. On June 18, the plaintiff raised an objection to the motion that the Ripple defendants had submitted, focusing specifically on the word exhibit. An excerpt from the deposition transcript of the expert, presented here as a judicial document. In a similar vein, reasons to refute Exhibit O were presented in conjunction with amici's desire to take part in the SEC expert challenge. The Ripple defendants' response to the SEC opposition was sent, along with the SEC suggested redactions, while the document was under seal. Once more, this time it involved the amici move to take part in the expert challenge. James Phelan, a well-known attorney, presented his recommended redactions to the public, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has now made public a letter clarifying those redactions. This action comes on the heels of evidence by an expert SEC witness by the name of Patrick B. Doody, who reported on what information reasonable XRP holders relied on while buying the token. Doody was called as a witness by the SEC. The SEC said that they needed to do this to safeguard the expert. The proposed redactions to the response are narrowly tailored to serve the higher value of protecting witness safety in light of the likelihood. Therefore, the Securities and Exchange Commission attempted to keep confidential the footnote 1 of the response, which contains information on the content of the expert's report. The remaining suggested redactions to the response are related to the material that is included in the SEC opposition bet, regarding threats and harassment that were directed toward the expert. It's possible that this is the primary motivation behind the suggested redactions, which are described as being tailored to serve that interest. But doesn't it say, defend all, in there? The SEC did, in fact, have the intention of shielding the specific expert from any possible harm. By the way, did you know about this double standard? Let us know in the comment section down below. In addition, the Chief Executive Officer of Ripple Labs is criticizing the United States Securities and Exchange Commission for applying varying standards to the many firms operating in the cryptocurrency market. When it came time for the SEC to authorize Coinbase's S1 initial public offering, according to Garlinghouse, who was presenting at the Collision Technology Conference in Toronto at the time, the SEC used inconsistent strategies. Garlinghouse contends that the Securities and Exchange Commission committed self-contradiction when it provided XRP, a digital asset that is the subject of a lawsuit filed by the SEC against Ripple. The lawsuit alleges that XRP is an unregulated investment. When Coinbase went public, which really wasn't that long ago, Coinbase was trading XRP. They enabled consumers and businesses to trade XRP. The SEC had to approve their S1 such that Coinbase could go public. The SEC now seems to take the position when they sued us that, hey, XRP is a security and always has been. But they approved Coinbase going public, even though Coinbase is not a registered broker-dealer. So there are contradictions here of the SEC almost not, within its own organization, knowing left hand, right hand. Garlinghouse continues by stating that he believes the majority of crypto players are prepared to play by the rules, and as a result, it is essential for the government to adopt clear and uniform regulatory standards across the board. The first thing I think about, it maybe should be more clearly regulated. I think about consistency. One of the challenges for every crypto company right now is it's not clear where the rules of the road are. You have some examples where regulators are going after companies, and then you look at another company doing almost the exact same thing and they're not saying anything. Consistency, so everyone has a firm set of rules to follow. I think the vast majority of people in the crypto industry want to play by the rules. Let's just be clear about what the rules are. Let's be super clear about what we're trying to regulate. Comment, XRP Army, if you believe this is a scandal. The chief executive officer closes by issuing a warning that when the government develops policy based not on paper but rather on punitive enforcement methods, it ends up stifling promising innovations and preventing them from ever seeing the light of day. I think it's very clear that the SEC, instead of doing the hard work to define a new set of clear rules, a new set of clear regulations, both from the SEC and really the US government in general, they've instead decided, hey, we're going to do regulation through enforcement, which is not efficient and really has stifled innovation in the United States. This week, there has been significant fresh news involving Ripple, which has led to an increase in the amount of conversation surrounding the firm. The Securities and Exchange Commission is getting closer to making a comment about the long-running case against Ripple and the most recent disclosures made by the business regarding its plans in Canada. It should not come as a surprise that XRP's price has risen significantly over the past 2 days. Eleanor Tourette, a well-known journalist for Fox, mentioned that the Securities and Exchange Commission is about to announce crucial conclusions on the litigation. As a result of these judgments, it is anticipated that more clarity will be provided on the path that the case will go and whether or not Ripple has a chance of prevailing. Ripple made an announcement earlier this week that it intends to establish even more locations. This will manifest itself as a centralized engineering facility in the city of Toronto. It's possible that the two separate announcements helped contribute to the increased enthusiasm around XRP. After a surge of more than 10% in the previous 24 hours, XRP was trading at $0.365 at the time of this writing. During the course of the day, the cryptocurrency reached an all-time high of $0.387 thanks to the surge, before seeing some minor losses. Do you agree that XRP has a glorious future? If yes, then make sure to like this video. According to the MFI, there was a considerable amount of accumulation that occurred throughout the course of the week. It was sufficient to propel XRP prices to greater heights. Nevertheless, the fact that there was some resistance close to the 50% mark on the RSI is confirmed by the fact that there was a minor pullback in the previous few hours. The rise in the price of XRP is evidence that the Ripple community is enthusiastic about the prospect of positive announcements being made regarding the cryptocurrency. Because a favorable conclusion has the potential to result in an even greater benefit, this topic has garnered a lot of interest. The social dominance statistic for XRP on sentiment had a huge increase, growing from 0.265% on June 21 to 1.47% on June 24. In addition to this, it coincides with a noticeable increase in price within the same time period. This provides further evidence that there is a connection between the lawsuit against Ripple and the rising social discourse about Ripple and XRP. The number of XRP addresses that are currently being used has also expanded dramatically. On June 21, there were as few as 27,602 active addresses, but on June 23, that number soared to a high of 51,332. What do you think about Ripple's chances? Will Ripple win soon? Let us know in the comment section. If you want to continue to know about XRP, we have got 2 videos waiting for you on the end screen to check out. Make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Kindly note that prices of cryptocurrencies frequently change, so by the time you watch this video, it might have changed to a whole new value. The information provided in this video does not constitute investment advice, financial advice, trading advice, or any other sort of advice, and you should not treat any of the content as such. The content in this video is for educational purposes only and hence should not be considered financial advice. Do conduct your due diligence and consult your financial advisor before making any investment decisions.